And now we hear from the psalmist from Psalm 139, verses 1 through 12 and 23 through 24. O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from far away. You search out my path and my lying down and are acquainted with all my ways. Even before a word is on my tongue, O Lord, you know it completely. You hem me in behind and before and lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is so high that I cannot attain it. Where can I go from your spirit, or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and settle at the farthest limits of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, and the light around me become night, even the darkness is not dark to you. The night is as bright as the day, for darkness is as light to you. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my thoughts. See if there is any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. Please join me in prayer. Holy One, you know us better than we know ourselves. Help us to know you more fully. Let us see you all around us, in the faces of friends and strangers, and in the wonder of nature. Fill us with your Spirit so we may learn to recognize your presence in times of joy as well as sorrow. Teach us how to be silent and listen for your voice. Amen. Today, I would like to invite you to take for just a moment to think about the people you know. Thinking of everyone you know, who do you think knows you the best? Maybe your best friend, a sister or a brother, or even a spouse. Think about that person for a moment. How long have they known you? What secrets do you share with them? What secrets do you keep from them? How well do you think they really know you? Do they know everything? When I think about my most intimate relationship, it is with Keith. And honestly, I am aware that there are still things about him that I don't know. And likewise, there are feelings and thoughts that I have that I don't always share with him. And I think that is universal. I think that is true for everyone. No one knows us or anyone absolutely perfectly, 100%. Now, these intimate relationships and friendships are still vitally important to us because we feel like when others really know us, and still love us anyway, that's really life-affirming. That really does something to touch our hearts and spirits. I remember giving Keith the opportunity to run. We were dating, it was at the very beginning, and he was like, so tell me all about yourself. And so I disclosed some of the things about me that I thought would send him running. And I said, now's your chance. This is your opportunity to run. But he didn't. It was amazing. It was amazing to give someone that chance to see inside of you the dark sides, the warts, the fact that I like to eat potato chips at midnight and they stick around anyway. Well, that's pretty awesome. In Psalm 139, we hear the message that God knows us in a way that no other person does, in a way that no other person ever can. We hear that God is acquainted with all of our ways. Even when a thought comes into our head before it's on our lips, God already knows it. God sees through the walls that we put up around our hearts. God sees past the masks that we wear when we try to be perhaps someone we know that we're not. God knows us in an incredibly intimate way. God knows you and I personally, lovingly, like I said, warts and all. And being known by God in this way, it's a wonderful affirmation for each one of us that our lives matter. Your life, my life, every life of every human being ever created in the past, now, or in the future matters deeply to God. Now, for many people, this idea of being known so thoroughly by God can be a little bit off-putting because we tend to want to hide certain parts of ourselves. Like the story of Adam and Eve, hiding in the garden, ashamed and embarrassed by something they had done. We may not go hiding in the garden and make leaves skirts or anything like that, but there are parts of our lives, things that we have thought or said or done or not said or thought or done that we're not proud of. And we'd rather God not see that part. But God knows us better than we even know ourselves. And the promise of the psalm is that even the darkness is not dark to you, God. The night is as bright as the day, for darkness is as light to you. God sees beyond the darkness that we perceive within ourselves and others. And in God's knowing of us in this intimate, personal way, God still loves us. God does not run away. Now let that really sink in for just a second. All that dark, icky, messy stuff in your life that you would rather ignore, pretend it didn't exist, whatever you have done that causes you embarrassment or shame, God knows all about it. And even knows it better than you know it yourself. And God still loves you. And yet it is still easy to feel that disconnect from God because we do still tend to want to hide. And it's in those times when I feel that sort of distance for God that there's a visualization exercise that I like to do, and maybe you'll find it useful too. So I want to share it with you. Imagine yourself sitting face to face with God. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Just you and God, sitting with each other, face to face. And as you sit together, you begin to pour out your heart. Everything, all those things that you were wanting to hide, that you didn't want to share, you open your heart to them, to God, and you start naming them. And after each thing you name, God responds, I love you. With each confession, God looks at you, sees you, does not run away, and is not surprised by anything that you have to say, but simply, lovingly, compassionately tells you over and over and over, I love you. And then when you have shared your very last confession and you realize that you cannot argue God into not loving you, you see God's arms simply reach out for you. And in that moment, you let yourself melt into God's embrace. May you ever more deeply and fully experience God's unending love, compassion, and forgiveness. Amen. Please join me now in our prayer. Holy One, you know us better than we know ourselves. Help us to know you more fully. Let us see you all around us in the faces of friends and strangers and in the wonder of nature. Fill us with your Spirit so we may learn to recognize your presence in times of joy as well as sorrow. Teach us how to be silent and listen for your voice. Lord, you invite all who are burdened to come to you. May your hand heal us. Touch our souls with your compassion for others. Touch our hearts with your courage and infinite love for all. Touch our minds with your wisdom that our mouths may always proclaim your praise. Teach us to reach out to you in our needs and help us to lead others to you by our example. Loving God, bring us health in body, mind, and spirit, that we may serve you with joy and strength. Once again, breathe your Spirit into our lives, which you have created, now and forever. Amen. Amen, and God bless you.